Johnny Boykin's Coach's Show this week. We're live as always here at Pete's Inn. We'd like to thank Brad Hale and the Pete's Inn group, fine staff, for hosting us every Monday this year. And I'd like to thank our sponsor, Sawvel Agricultural. Thanks for joining us again, Coach. Good to have you here.
Yeah, great to be here.
Special guest coming in later today, coming up here about halfway through the show. Coach, we'll get into it. We'll start with last Friday's game against Red Springs. A very good first half, up 27-12. We get right before halftime. And then second half, kind of a turnaround, and end up dropping a 36-34 decision. Yeah,
tough game. Kids play hard. Just didn't finish the game. Didn't do enough of the fundamental things that you need to win a game like that on someone else's turf. Gave them some life. At the start of the third quarter, we were kind of, I don't know what happened there, where we just lost our juice a little bit, and they started fast third quarter, and it gave them some confidence, and then, somebody else's home turf. Crowd gets into it, and now we got a ball game.
And part of a group that's not got a lot of varsity experience is one getting a lead, but learning how to play with the lead and keeping that same intensity throughout. And that's something that doesn't come easy.
Yeah, you need your leaders to kind of help with that on the field, and we just didn't get it done. Didn't do a good job tackling. Didn't do a good job just in our fundamentals, whether snapping or blocking or the basis of the game. We had a couple of late turnovers, which happened at a bad part of the game, but it wasn't the reason that we came up short in the game.
And it was a couple other games, the Lakewood-Hopton games, a similar situation. In fact, Lakewood said I had 4 of these games this year. You and Red Springs scored the same amount of touchdowns. Yeah. But when it was 27-12, then obviously Red Springs scored 3 more touchdowns and then got 3 two-point conversions.
2-point conversions.
And that's always something I thought I'd try to stress. Teams will score, but then you see a lot of teams, they'll just they're so deflated the other team scores, they don't put the effort into the 2-point play. Yeah. And that's so important.
Mark of a young team, not being able to move forward. And we had a lot of that Friday night. We started diverting our attention to things in the game that don't matter. And, we tried to coach them through it, and we talked a little bit about it at the game. It's a maturity thing, and we got to do a better job as coaches, too, helping them get through those lull areas.
Yeah, it's a learning. Those are unfortunate learning situations. Unfortunately, you hope you get better. You get that same situation.
Right.
And a number of times you coach a number of years, you'll see a team jump off a couple scores early in the first quarter, and all of a sudden they think, well, this is going to be an easy one, and they kind of go flat.
We addressed it at halftime. We talked about it. We got the ball, talking about getting a fast start. We have to win the third quarter. All our focus was on getting a first down. Give me 1 first down, and let's get it going. And we weren't able to do that. Went 3 and out, coming out of the half.
This week, then we move on to St. Paul's. Now, before we talk about St. Paul's, it's homecoming week.
Yeah.
And there's Patter Puff tomorrow. There's other activities obviously going on. I always thought one thing, I'm assuming Clint still does it, at least the King ceremony was doing school.
Yeah.
It's not during the game. And then adults, I believe, escort the queens across the field, not football players.
Yeah, well, I am learning because I don't know. I didn't know all of this. That's right, it was. So I've been asking the staff all week, tell me what I don't know.
Yeah.
And I told the kids, this is all I'm going to say about this. Be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. And, if you get to go to an activity, understand that this homecoming thing is not for you.
Because it is. People say, well, it's a distraction. And it is a distraction. We kind of feel, obviously, number of years coaching, you have 2. It is a distraction for the players.
The last week, we were off Thursday and Friday. So that was a tough dynamic to deal with, them not being in school and coming to practice, coming to the games. And we had some miss and, had some inconsistencies there. Then you turn around and the next week, we got a lot of other things going, and trying to keep them, they're kids, they want to experience it all and have a good time. So it's a challenge to, kind of keep their focus, and then they're having some activities next to our practice field. So, we'll do our best job with that, and
but at least again, they're not having to escort people as the king.
Oh, no. That would definitely be a problem.
I was up there watching the game the daughter's school, and their players are out there at halftime. I think there's no way you're making obviously adjustments, and the focus is there on the game. And,
that's probably not going to happen. That would be a problem.
keep that one away. Red Springs, my fault. St. Paul's then coming in 6-2, 3-0 in conference. The 3 conference games so far, they've outscored the opponents 43-2 on average. So I watched a little bit of video on them yesterday. That's a quality club. Yeah,
tough game coming in for homecoming. Dynamic quarterback, run it, throw it. They do a lot of interesting things with him.
He's got 909 yards passing and 627 yards rushing through 8 games.
Yeah, he's definitely their guy. The more interesting thing about this game is, unusually like the last 2 games had a really dynamic player athletically. A guy that was so much better than everybody else on the field. This game doesn't necessarily offer that, but this quarterback is a problem. He hurts you in the pass game. He hurts you in the ground game. Runs a little bit of zone read with him, some counter boot with him. So we're gonna have to be on our best.
And then McBride, the running back's already got 1,000 yards, 1,000 yards even now through 8 games too.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game.
I thought their offensive line pass protected well, at least a little bit I saw, and then their defensive front. They come after you. They can get pressure on the quarterback with just rushing. They don't have to put their other.
They're well coached. They're well coached. They got a good scheme, good players, and we'll have our hands full. No doubt.
Too, they bring a little cover 2, but they jam and then fall back.
Yeah,
they're kind of a press cover 2 zone, and I thought that was kind of unique.
Some of the stuff they do, has been a lot of who they're playing. In some of the games we saw. But they do a good job with their cover schemes, with their eyes. Probably one of the more disciplined teams we played in terms of eye discipline.
In the last 5 games, they've only given up 20 points. That's all total, and they're averaging about 4 sacks a game. So it's a complete team coming in this week.
Doubt.
So it'll be a good. Now, go back to the JVs. The JVs have been off the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
you had an opportunity to bring up some of the JV players to the varsity, and whether they played or not. I mean, how beneficial do you think that was, kind of combining things the last couple of weeks? I know they'd rather be playing games.
Yeah,
but in terms of practicing and working with the varsity overall, how beneficial was that?
Disappointed a lot with this conference and the selection of whether we play or not within the conference. And our JVs have been off the last 2 weeks due to forfeits, I guess, is what you want to say. So we tried to keep them active. Still practicing, balling a lot of them up. Graham Dirks actually started for us, middle linebacker this past week, due to some injuries. Gavin Miller actually played a lot
against West Bladen.
Yeah, West Bladen, and so it's been one of those.
I think the best out of the negative. Got some varsity experience. Some varsity experience. Got to be on the sidelines of varsity, and that to me that's helpful.
And the good thing is this week they got a real ball game.
And then they've got they're at St. Paul's this week, and then they'll be home or away against ACOG.
We're not sure of whether it's home or away yet.
But you're going to play ACOG.
We're going to play CBA since Fairmont does not have a JV.
Yeah, so they'll get their 2 games in here the last couple weeks of the season. Then. Now, I know, and we're not 2 weeks left, still got a lot of football left. I know one thing, talking with you before and Coach Elliott also, important in coming off seasons to get the kids in the weight room.
Oh, man, I cannot wait.
But then there's also, there's in-season is so important as well, too, which can't be neglected. But then you also have to temper that with, obviously, playing. So what's your in-season philosophy in terms of weightlifting?
We, as a standard, we lift 2 days a week. Generally Mondays and maybe a Thursday. Depending on who we play, whether we can get we're always looking for a third lift if we can get one in. So that's how we do it in season. In the off season, we'll be there in my class, so we're 4 days a week. Wednesdays are an academic day for us. And we're actually decided we're going to go ahead and start lifting. So we've been lifting 4 days a week. The last 2 weeks, we actually started maxing today, doing some testing, trying to see where our kids are. And we just felt like we couldn't wait. We just needed to get after it right now and get them going. And so far, it's been pretty beneficial for us.
And so when the season ends, you'll just stay that 4 days. I mean,
yeah, we'll take off. We'll give them off a month. Soon as second semester starts, we'll start in late January. We'll start our all-season training.
Okay, and that'll be. It's always been a struggle, Clinton High, and I'm not. We're not. It's been issues since I was here in ’89.
Right.
Getting everybody into weightlifting.
Well, we'll do that.
You're getting everybody.
Yeah, they'll be in a class with me, and we'll be able to get it done during the school day.
Okay, so you don't have to worry about getting people over after school.
Well, we're going to get our middle school involved after school.
That's good.
So we're going to work through that with some of the middle school staff and see how we can do that more efficiently for them. And we're excited because we think we got something big happening, particularly after I see the weights touch some of these bodies we got walking around at school.
Getting some redefined figures that will come up.
Yeah.
And then spring ball, you'd have that come up in May.
Yeah, we won't do the schedule till after the season. But it's funny, I normally do spring ball in May. Mm-hmm. But we get out of school, we'll be out of school in May.
That's true. We'll be out.
Which was a little different. Yeah. So we'll back the schedule up and we'll see where we fit spring ball. And then you have track without affecting some of the spring sports. So that's a work in progress. That calendar will be out at the first of the year.
And this will really be your first preseason group. And that'll make a difference too heading into next year. Just having all the prep which you didn't have a chance.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk here shortly with Henry about. Didn't really have. He came in without a preseason at all. There's a lot of it it'll be beneficial next year.
Yeah, it's going to be beneficial from a physical. We want to be a physical football team, and it's hard to be physical when you hadn't lifted. When I got here, our kids hadn't had a coach or lifted since October, and that's a long time. And I got here in July, so that's a long time to go without the team getting together and doing some sort of training. So we're looking forward to this off season and getting them together and start to build on the foundations that we're trying to lay right now.
Yep, that's it. All right. Again, Johnny Boykin Coach Show. We thank you for joining us. We're here at Pizza Inn, which we are every Monday throughout the season. I'd like to thank again Brad Hale and his group here. Again, on Tuesdays on Star 16, this Press Box Chatters begins at 6 o'clock, and that's followed by J.W. Simmons' show at 7. Sydney Knowles and At the Table is at 8, and then the replay of tonight's show, the Johnny Boykin Coaches Show, is at 8:30. Henry, I'd like to thank you for coming in tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate your time. You was at Men's last year.
Yes, sir.
All right. Obviously, no football at Men's. So first off, give a little about your football background.
I mean, my dad played when he was in high school. He was a quarterback at Union, but I've just played in the yard when I was a kid, but I've never played organized. I did play 1 year in rec ball, but I never played besides that. This is my first year.
Okay, so made the transition, come over. Obviously, again, as we talked about, really no preseason. So once August come around, brand new, what did you even have an idea what position you was going to be looking at or anything, or you just looking to fit in best you could where you could?
Not really. I was just looking to help the team out as much as I could. Thought about wide receiver just because I'm tall and pretty quick, but I thought about quarterback too, but I just couldn't really throw very well. But I got the hang of it now. So,
all right. So when did you start getting some reps at quarterback?
Well, first start of the summer, they put me at quarterback, and I started doing there. And then I wasn't doing too hot, so they put me at wide receiver, and I stayed there the first little while of the season. And then we went back to quarterback.
Yeah, had a little action at Wallace, I remember.
Yes, sir.
And after the long delay, but then it's the first series at Princeton. About the third or fourth play you came in, and you've kind of taken it off from there since then.
Yes, sir.
And it's been up till that point. That was the fifth game of the year. Up to that point, the offense really had not even scored a point yet. The only points have been come off a defensive punt block. Since then, I was doing some rough math, and I think I took out all the defensive touchdowns. The offense has scored 28 points a game since then. So, again, football is a team game, but the movement of a player to a different spot or introduction of a player or the absence of a player can affect the overall quality. And since you've come in, it's made a difference in the offense.
Yes, sir.
And the passing in particular. So you said you couldn't throw the ball much. It's really improved now since the beginning of the year.
Yes, sir.
And Take us through. All right. You come out in the 4-wide situation. Say you got 2 receivers each side. All right. You're in the shotgun. It's been pretty much all year. Okay. Snap comes to you. Take us through what you're reading, what you're looking at, what you're doing in that play.
Well, I mainly look at the safeties just to try to, if wherever they go, I'm not going to try to throw it there just where, because they're going to be, most of the safeties we play are pretty good. So I love, most of my receivers are awesome. I love Ryan McNeil, Will Mercer, Tyler Patrick, and Jonah Boone, and Aaron Cooper too. But I just look down the field, and whoever I think's open, I'm going to throw it to them.
One thing I think's improved too, since the Princeton game, the last couple games, has been the shorter passing game too, and you've gotten a lot more accurate with that as well.
Yes, sir.
And is there, when those calls come in for those routes are all called through the play call coming in?
Yes, sir.
What they're going to have and all? Okay. You've done a good job too, I think, avoiding pressure. How do you, as a quarterback again, you just talk people through it. How do you sense that? One, you're looking downfield. You're looking eyeing up secondary, you're watching receivers, but you got to get a sense that pass rush as well too.
I just try not to overthink it. Just when I feel it, to get out of the way and use my legs to the best I can.
All right. In terms of the running game, all right, how much you've been involved with the running game?
Last game I ran a lot more than I usually have, but usually just hand it off and fake like I got it. But our running backs are doing pretty well. Yes, sir.
And your line, I think, gotten a whole lot better here the last few
few
games. Yes, it's been. I'll have a test this week, but in terms of protection overall, I mean, you've had to scramble a little, but overall, I think they've done a much better job improving. And I think too, just being able to add that passing dimension, which we didn't have at the beginning of the year, it's opened up things so much more. How much do you think you continue improving, obviously, every day? What do you think your growth is with being quarterback?
I'm just trying to read the field better. That's what I struggle with the most, I believe. But that's what I've been working on, and I'm trying to get better at every day. So.
All right. And again, benefit of one, the weight room, and then the preseason and all that, I think will be,
yes, sir.
Again, just be able to come in the first year like you've done and take a new position and probably the hardest position of them all, and to excel what you've done. I think you've done a super job so far.
Well, thank you.
And the offense has improved dramatically since then. So you don't miss playing wide receiver now, I bet.
No, I don't. I'm enjoying quarterback now.
How about any defense? No defense either.
I'm fine with no defense.
Just do what you want. St. Paul's coming up. Give an idea, a little bit about what you see with St. Paul's.
They look like a tough team, but I think we can handle them fine. We just got to play together and play tough. Like he tells us to, play tough and fast, and we got them.
Okay. And secondary-wise, you think what looks you go get out of them?
They look like they're pretty good. I mean, they're tackling on the field. They look good, but nothing we can't handle, I don't think.
All right. So that'll be this Friday at Clinton High School. Homecoming. You don't have to worry about that homecoming stuff. You just focus on football. Thank you, Henry. Appreciate you joining us tonight. Again, come out. We should have a good crowd this week. Should have a lot of alumni groups coming in this week for the ball game, and come out and support the Dark Horses. They've played some really good football these last 3 or 4 weeks, and again, they'll face a good St. Paul's team this Friday. All right. We thank you again for joining us, and we'll catch you next week on the Boykin Coach Show.